What is up, everybody? It is January 19th, 2023, and it's been a minute since I gave you guys an update on what's going on. So yesterday I had a meeting with my doctor, and we talked about my Wellbutrin at 100 milligrams. That's Wellbutrin SR. So it's got lasts for 12 hours. I told her in the morning I kind of felt okay, but in the afternoon at about 2 o'clock I kind of crashed. I take my pill at about 5 o'clock every morning, and I told her all the stuff that I felt and everything that I mentioned on my shorts that I put out. And she suggested, you know what, I think we should up the dosage a little bit and then do it twice a day. And I thought that made sense because everything I looked at said the normal dosage for Wellbutrin SR is twice a day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. So she changed it to 150 milligrams SR and then twice a day instead of just once a day. Now, when she told me that, I still had 100 milligram SR tablets still available. So I popped one at 5. I popped the second one at 12. And yeah, I felt something. I felt like I could focus a little bit more. I don't really know what I'm expecting. I don't know if I'm expecting to be like a machine or a robot. So I guess my expectations are way too high. But we'll see. We'll work through it. I went to New Orleans this past weekend. That was pretty interesting. Everybody I told that I was going to New Orleans told me to be very, very careful, to not go out after dark, to take an Uber wherever I go, to stay close to my hotel. And I don't know if it was just the spot that I was in or the time of year it was, but we had a great time. We were in the French Quarters next to the convention center, so real close to there. And it was great. It was about between 50 and 60 degrees. So that was neat. We went down Bourbon Street. That was pretty cool. We did a ghost tour. And what they would do is, I guess there's a kind of like Savannah. There's a lot of rich history out there. And they say part of the city is haunted. Even the hotel that we went in, someone said was haunted, or online it said it was haunted, but you talk to the front desk receptionist and they have no clue about it being haunted. But really, really good time. And then as we were driving back north, we got hit with the snow. I'm from Chicago originally, so I'm used to it, but there was a point in time where I couldn't see 50 yards in front of me. Chunks were coming down that were about the half size of my fist, and my windshield wipers were getting caked up. So it was pretty bad, but we made it through okay. And that's kind of like the new things that have been going on. I've been, practicing jiu-jitsu as a brown belt, and I had to spend a week off, and getting back into it was tough, but the other guys in class are getting really, really good, and it sometimes doesn't feel like I'm a brown belt. There's some positions that I suck at, some positions that I do great at. So I'm human, so I'm going to feel a kind of way about it. But that's just life, right? You get better, you cross a certain threshold, and maybe you're not progressing as much or at the same rate as you used to. And you got the guys underneath you still going and progressing at a good rate. And then there's going to be a time where they kind of plateau. So, just something that I noticed. I also noticed that the way I train, I'm training to be able to do this into my 70s and hopefully longer. So when I first started, I would use a lot of my strength to perform certain maneuvers, sweeps, control, submissions, and I don't think that's going to be able to carry me through to be a 70-year-old, 80-year-old jiu-jitsu guy or jiu-jitsu practitioner. So my focus ever since I've been a blue belt back in 2016 has been try to perform the technique without having to explode in a bunch of strength. And how that's helped me is my technique has gotten a lot crisper, and I've been able to do more and more rolls because I don't suffer from fatigue. So there's times where, lower belts got a really good top game, and I'm trying to figure out an answer without using strength, just using technique. And the better they are, the harder it is to find that hole. I may be underneath for a good minute and a half while I'm moving around and they're moving around before I can capitalize on a mistake. Maybe they try to attack and I capitalize on that, their movement while trying to attack me. So that's pretty interesting. As a brown belt, when I first started this, I'm thinking, whoa, man, brown belts, they'd be able to sweep anybody, anytime, whenever they want. And I don't feel that as a brown belt myself. Now, I'm a fresh brown belt, but yeah, it's kind of interesting to be at the level that you used to think of when you were a white belt. It's kind of like, I was in the car business for a number of years, and when I was a salesperson, I would look at the GM and I would go, wow, that's the job I want. He gets to come in whenever he wants. He gets to leave whenever he wants. Wow, gets paid a ton of money. That's a great position. And the higher I climbed up that ladder, going from salesperson to internet manager, then from internet manager to some type of sales manager, then going to general sales manager, then going to GM, you're just kind of thinking to yourself, wow, this job is not as glorious as I thought it was when I was a salesperson. Especially as time went on, the job of a general manager in a dealership has gotten more and more complicated. I'm sure it's like that for other lines of business where you're going in and you look at the top and you go, wow, that must be a great job. But it isn't as glorious as it looks as it to be, right? And, if something goes wrong at the dealership, they look at the general manager first, right? So that's what I'm feeling with jiu-jitsu. Other than that, it's for the South, it's a pretty big cold snap. We should be getting out of it this week. But that's it. Nothing new. I'm keeping an eye on the stock market. That's kind of going up and down. I think there's some opportunities out there to buy some companies that have some good numbers that are just low because the interest rates are high and people aren't buying on leverage. So I'm just looking at a couple of those and kind of working. That's it. So I figure I'd give you guys a quick update on what's going on. I'll be back on putting more shorts out there. Any questions about anything I ever talk about, whether it's Wellbutrin, jiu-jitsu, the car business. I'm still involved in the car business. I'm just not in the retail end. I'm more of a consultant right now. So any questions about any of that, just drop something in the comments and I'll see if I can help. Thanks, guys.